look, we're an industry which is fascinating because of the global reach, because of the fact you go from African mines to fancy showcases in Tiffany or in Rodeo Drive. We have problems, we have challenges, we have opportunities. And what I think I'm very impressed about is the leadership of the industry now willing to take on this subject. I've been working on it for 20 years, and I think we're more receptive right now, we're more interested right now, and we're moving in the right direction. I think we have to work hard to help the artisanal sector. I think we have to recognize them as a legitimate part of the diamond community. You may have the American Gem Society, you might have the Jewelers of America, and I wonder where is the Artisanal Diamond Association or the Artisanal Association, get them a voice. But I think what Gaetano said about honesty, not just with our customers, with ourselves. I think what we talked about, hiring people and having a message that we are trying to make the world a better place. And I think the diamonds can do that. You know, I always said that there's a reason God gave diamonds to the poorest people in the world and made the richest desire them. There's a reason for that. And this transfer of wealth that you talked about was so powerful because, in fact, that is a huge transfer of wealth. That's exactly how God designed this, okay? So what we need to do is we need to find the right ways to have the diamonds speak to the emotional and the ethical story, the story behind the diamonds, behind the colored stones. It's not just about diamonds, behind the jewelry. And it's not just tell a story, but be a story. Be good, do good. And the fact that I think diamonds do so much good needs to be communicated. I think that we have now the Natural Diamond Council. They'll do it. We got Stephen, we've got RJC. And I go back to when Charmian Good spoke to me in 1999. No one wanted to speak to her. And she talked to me about, Sierra Leone. I said, well, people are killing each other in Africa for hundreds of years. Why is it my problem? And she explained why it was my problem. And, and I got engaged. But there were no organization. We're just building the Kimberley process. And look how many good organizations we have now. Look how many good people we have now. So I think that one of the goals of this conference is going to be, we started a Rappaport Social Responsibility Conference webpage. We're listing the names of people. We're listing papers and articles about things, research, et cetera. And we're going to support this. And we're going to create an environment where you can see who you can talk to. And you said some great things. You said, talk to me. Talk to me about social responsibility in the artisanal sector. I want people to talk to each other. This would be the greatest. That's why we're having this conference. So if people come together and they work with the RJC, which I do support the idea of the RJC, I like them to take stronger positions maybe. But I think if we work together, we will be able to make this thing happen. And I think we need to be very sensitive to the poorer, more problematic sections or segments. We talk about artisanal. It doesn't only have to be artisanal. You know that there's people in Jaipur who are having problems with their manufacturing colored stones and the dust and all. So it's our industry, and it's our industry that we love. It's our industry where we have such great products. And I think by coming together and meeting together, we are able to educate each other. We are able to come up with solutions. And I want to thank everybody very much for taking the time. Even now we thought we would have a lot more physical people here in Vegas, but this is very important to all of us. I'm thankful that so many important people have taken the time to be on this call. And hopefully we'll be able to write it up and we'll be able to segment out pieces of this conference to share so that other people can get it and among ourselves too. So anybody that has any ideas, any
David raised his hand. If there's
suggestions, I'm always there. Martin at Rappaport.com. I'm always very passionate about this idea of social responsibility in the industry. And does anyone have anything else they want to say as we close?
We've got David raised his hand. David?
Joshua, thank you. Hey, Martin.
They always accuse me. Yeah, go ahead. What?
Martin, we have online also, we had David started speaking as well.
Who?
David.
Go, David. Let's go.
Martin, yeah, look, I hate to end the conference, a great discussion for the last few hours, without clarifying a couple of points that were made earlier. And there are a couple of false premises. And it's always concerning to me when I hear comments made that are uneducated. And I can tell you firsthand that our mining companies, Alrosa and De Beers, do outstanding work. And anybody who doesn't understand what they do simply haven't taken the time to educate themselves by simply going to the websites. I've been fortunate to be all over Russia with Alrosa. I've been all over Africa, not as far as many places you have been, Martin. But the fact of the matter is our industry has been sustaining, and that was the word that was used, that millions of people for a century. And it's not perfect. We're all about continuous improvement. That's what this is all about, the continuous improvement in the integrity of the global jewelry supply chain. But to make comments about this, in the natural metals and minerals industry not being sustainable when it has provided livelihoods on almost every continent in the world for decades is unfair. And I would look at those companies very closely. In fact, the most recent work is the kind of work that we at Signet aspire to, and that we as an industry ought to aspire to. So when I hear it coming from companies that don't have a legacy like that, or don't have anything to point to, it's concerning. And I think we ought to not end this conference without making sure we recognize the work of this industry, my predecessors, the people that will follow us, you know, as we move on in this industry. This industry is about people, and it's not about electricity. And you wanted to, you know, to talk about lab grown versus natural, and maybe didn't want to get into a food fight, but we've gotten to talking about apples and oranges here, and even steak. But the fact is, they are a choice. And just because somebody buys a lab grown diamond doesn't mean that they're negative for natural diamonds. That's a false premise. We sell both. They're simply a choice. And for people who want a larger stone for less money, they'll get a lab grown diamond. That's great. That's why it's there. Okay. One is not better than the other. They're entirely different. And to make false premises and statements or marketing that is built on these false premises, that is to me irresponsible. So I'm sorry for a little bit of kind of held that up for a few minutes here. So I appreciate the opportunity to speak, Martin.
All right, it's very strong. I think there's a consensus to promote positive messaging. I think there's a consensus about that. And I think that the consumer, in fact, will vote with their money for different types of social responsibility, or what kind of jewelry, maybe colored stones, maybe pearls, maybe natural pearls, I don't know, what they want. And it's a free and fair market as long as we follow Gaetano's honesty concept, and as long as we have some standards that we are working on with the RJC and standards even for synthetic silver. But as long as we work and we're honest about what we're selling the consumer, we have the expertise to add value, I think that our future is very, solid. On that note, I want to thank everybody. Wish you well, and see you at the next conference.